Press the bell icon for no.
It's such a pleasure and honor to have you over here. And of course, I'm here as a family member. Both the Lula daughters over here, and Eros has been, I've been attached to Eros as a family member since many, many years. More than 35 years has been my association, and I've been, of course, as you know, that the world admires Microsoft. The world admires Bill Gates and the family and all of you all. And of course, I've heard so much about you, Peggy. And we have something common, that we both love running. So that's going to be fantastic. So welcome all of you all, and thank you so much for coming. And without wasting any time, I would like to ask a few questions to both of you all. And who do I start with? Huh?
Well, before we hop onto the far side, I think just because we have all the dignitaries with us, let's go ahead and have a picture of all
picture.
together.
Picture.
It's my line.
All of you on the left side.
Sir, all of you left side.
Thank you so much. Do I have a chair or no? Oh, yeah, okay. Others geek. So I'm supposed to ask, let me ask Rishika first, right? She's the youngest among all of us, so.
Yes, by far.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you,
Excuse me.
in this business of digital entertainment, tell us about your journey with Eros. And obviously I know you as a kid. You were born in front of me, and I've seen you grow up, and I came for your wedding also, right? Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So it's been in the last 5 years since inception, and how technology has played a key role in driving the growth of Eros, and what has been your experience, if you can tell us. Yeah.
Of course. The journey of Eros Now has been really, really interesting. It actually came up as an idea on holiday when you're vacationing and clear-headed. That's when I think the best ideas come. I've always been an early adopter of technology. I've always been subscribed to multitudes of services. I remember the first MP3 player I had was a Nomad. They were kind of Discman-sized, huge things. And I realized that a lot of these streaming now giants had actually started on the back of strong content. And at that point there was this realization that, hey, Eros has the world's biggest Indian language library. We say we are technologically advanced, we embrace technology and leadership technology as part of our DNA when it comes to content distribution, that online distribution seemed like the best way forward, and very much a natural extension of our leadership DNA within the space. But beyond a natural extension of distribution, what was really important to us was actually to start building a B2C brand versus a brand that is just there every time a film comes out. So how do you create a daily touch point with your fans and your consumers? That's only possible when you're able to build a strong platform that is incredibly personal, that houses all of the content in one place. So that was essentially the vision and how it was born. In terms of the journey, it was exciting, really exciting, I think, from creating the brand to actually creating our tech teams based in San Francisco and Bangalore and Bombay. It was something we built ground up. So very much I feel like Eros Now is my baby.
Great.
So I run business development at Microsoft, and you can think of it as the development of businesses, essentially growth for Microsoft. And we do that in 3 ways. We do it through strategic partnerships like the one we have with Eros. We do it with investments and through acquisitions. And each one of those are meant to be sort of a way to grow inorganically, to sort of bend the curve of our individual units and bring something from the outside in to be a catalyst for growth. And so we look across all 3 levers, and we pull whichever one is most appropriate at the time. Largely, it's around strategic partnerships. And since Satya came in, we've had a real focus on that area, partnerships, and even partnering with some cooperate and find synergies and growth for both of us.
And I heard you're an introvert.
I am an introvert.
Okay. So how does that influence your leadership style? Because usually leaders are supposed to be very, flamboyant, extrovert. You're an introvert. So how do you?
Yeah, it's not. Frankly, when I started my career many years ago, I was always asked to be more extroverted, to speak up more, to be more aggressive at work. I'm an electrical engineer, and it was largely my company was. I was generally the only woman in the room, and so I was in an environment I wasn't comfortable with anyway. And but eventually, I realized that being an introvert is actually a plus. You're generally a listener if you're not talking, and that has helped me do my job better. I feel like if I had a superpower, it would be listening. I listen to the customer, really understand what they need, and then help them realize their vision. So it can be a plus, and the world is full of extroverts and introverts. I think we need both of them.
Absolutely. But matter of fact, as soon as I met you, I started speaking, and you were listening.
I'm a listener.
We were talking about running, so and I have, for me also, it's been a passion for many years. So, when did you start running?
I started running in college. Just 2 years ago. No, many years ago in college, and now I'm somewhere along the line. I ran further and further distances, and now I like to run marathons. And so I'm working my way through the world major marathons.
Oh, cool. That's really cool, yeah. Rishika, now the question is for you. How do you think the entertainment fraternity adopting to the new form of change in consumption?
I would actually like to turn that back round to you.
Oh.
Good move.
So you will ask me that question?
How do you think the entertainment fraternity has adopted to new technology changes?
Yeah, you see, to be honest with you, I was telling you when I met you yesterday that your dad, always has been ahead of the curve, and which is, and I know him since so many years. So, and I remember some years, I think more than a decade back, and when he, spoke about, we were giving interviews and everything was happening digital, and he was talking about this is more than a decade back. So, so first I want to compliment your dad, Kishore Ji, my friend, Kishore, I call him Kishore, so I can't call him, yeah. So he's, always been, had a vision which was always ahead of times. And I'm so happy that this partnership is happening between Eros Now and Microsoft. And I'm looking forward to this partnership and asking me the question, I think, am I the right person to answer that? Of course, okay. Well, of course, for me, because I belong to the family of content, we make content, and mine is a very small little company. My father was in films since the last 60 years. We've been making content since over 60 years, and it's a family business. And he was a film producer. He started as an agent, and of course, from my childhood, besides reading and eating food, I was reading films and reading content and telling stories. And then obviously I was the first actor in the family, so because from the time I came to my sense I wanted to be an actor, and I became an actor, and as I said, and we were talking about diversity and the which the collaboration which we are having is about diversity. So I was not getting any work in Indian films, in Hindi films, in Mumbai, in Bombay, which I'm talking about in the late 70s. So my first film was in Telugu, which is a South Indian language. Okay, So that time this technology wasn't there, which is going to start. So I had to learn the sound, write it in Roman English, and learn the sounds by heart. Okay, like a child, like A, B, C, D. So I said, if a child can pick up these sounds and learn them by heart, so let me write what is written in that language that I don't understand. So I wrote it in Roman English, and I used to learn them by heart. Then I had an assistant who would be there to tell me what the meaning is, and the director and the writer would say, this is the meaning. Then I would learn it by heart, and then obviously Hindi has different pauses, has a different rhythm. Working in English is a different rhythm, and working in a South Indian language is a different rhythm, different pitching, different pauses. So how do I get those pauses? Because now I have to have 3 or 4 tracks running simultaneously in my brain. One is the sound, which I have learned by heart. Second is the meaning, and the third are the pauses, and the fourth is where I have to come and stop. So these are the 4 or 5 tracks constantly running in my brain, and that's the way I did my first film as a lead was in Telugu. Then I did a Kannada film. Again, I did the same thing, and then I've done a lot of Hindi films, and then I had to do an international film in English. So obviously, performing in English was completely different. So when I did Slumdog Millionaire with Danny Boyle, so I said, listen, my English is not very good. No, I said, you speak pretty well. You speak the way you want to speak, and of course, I was a bit conscious. I was a bit nervous that I have to, speak in English, and I have to perform in English. So I worked. He gave me the confidence. I said, no, you speak pretty well. Because we in India have a certain, our teachers and the way we've been brought, there is definitely a British influence which is there in the way we've been in the schools and all. So I did that in English, and so for us, coming to your question of diversified, because that's you're coming out of the technology where simultaneously it will be done in different languages, and so for us, I think it's telling a story, no matter what it is, no matter what the platform is. It might be theater, it might be films. Then I did television, and now I am creating content for the digital format, which is fantastic, and of course, from the computers to the phones and everything. So things, I think all of us are adapting very well to this, and I have tried to adapt myself to this, the technology, which is the most important. That's the way you completely reinvent yourself, and I think our industry also is on a threshold of adapting. There are a lot of shows being done, a lot of people who have come here who are adapting this technology and the change in technology. We're shooting more, all the films are being shot digitally now, rather than shooting on film. And so I think that's the future. The future is, of course, a digital future, and it's no longer, as you said, the film industry, it's a digital industry. So I think the country, not only in films and entertainment, in everything else, is adapting very well, especially India. And our Honorable Prime Minister is encouraging it. The government is encouraging. And there are a lot of incentives also for technology in our country. And I see a great future, and I think we Indians are good at adapting and very, very hardworking people. We are kind of people who can really work for 16 to 18 hours in a day without blinking an eyelid. That's been, I think, our success. And of course, with 1.3 billion people in our country, I think it's a great platform and a great future for everybody, anybody who is adapting to this technology, and we are adapting. Was it a very long answer?
It was bad.
Slumdog Millionaire is one of my favorite movies of all time, so thank you for that. It's wonderful. But, when watching your career, you've been such a harbinger of dynamism. You've done so many different in so many languages, as you just said, so many parts, so many languages, so many different movies. How do you manage to stay relevant for so long? Because you are just as relevant today than I think going back to the first movie you were just describing.
Thank you very much for saying that, but yes, of course. For me, it's always, I take inspiration, like, of course, there's, inspiration from, Microsoft, inspiration from individuals, companies. I keep on reading, I keep on watching, and of course I listen. And of course I have, like for example, Rushika's there, and Eros is very blessed to have a younger generation. And I have my children who also keep me relevant and keep me on my toes. I have 2 daughters and a son, and so it's an atmosphere of different tastes, different, everybody's got different passions, and nobody's a fan in my house of anybody. Everybody's very independent, so I get a lot from my children, from my family, and I've always been, I'm ready to fail. That's the biggest, I think, lesson which I've learned is that I am ready to fail. I'm ready to make a fool of myself. And I think that's what has kept me relevant. That I have dived into things and everybody has said that this is disastrous. What are you doing? Like when I started my career in Telugu and Kannada films, I started my career with bit roles, and they said, you're doing bit roles constantly all your life, you're going to get only small roles. I started as a background actor. Then I did regional films. Then my first film as a leading man was not a conventional leading man. I did a film which was completely unconventional, where I played a small town guy who comes to become his director. So on and so forth, in my career, I've done films, done roles. Then I did, out of the blue, I did Sundown Millionaire. I think most of the leading men in our industry said no to the film, and I just dived into it, and I did it. I've been a leading man all my life, and I'm just playing a small 8-9 day cameo in the film, and that cameo turned out to be very well. Then I did 24, which was television, and I said, you were from Oscar. The film has won 8 Oscars, and why are you doing television? I said, because I just want to do it. I like the role, I like the story. So what if it's television, And then I came back, I bought the rights of Tel 24, 9 years back. I went from every broadcaster and all the big guns in the Bombay film industry. I said, I want to do 24 as a season. I said, what is season? What is 24? I said, we do daily soaps over here. There is nothing like season over here. And I said, I want to do it. And I did it. And today, I think everybody is doing that. I did it 8 years back, 9 years back. So these kind of things I've done. There are certain films which I've done. Then there was a transition period which happened, where everybody wanted me to play only the lead role. But I said, no, my time, I cannot be delusional. I think I should, to a certain extent, do something which is, which I should be able to do for, not for the next decade. I was thinking for the next 3 decades, for the next 4 days. I always believed in a marathon and never believed in the 100-meter dash. So I said, let me look at it, how it is going. I swear to God, you look at my interviews, and every time I've said that I want to be the marathon runner, not, So that's the reason I've been in this business for the last 40 years, and hopefully for many more years. So that's the way I've been, in my own small way, try to be relevant.
I quickly want to ask, could you elaborate a little more about the synergy between Microsoft and Eros Now, and how it's going to benefit both companies?
I'll start and you, okay. Well, first and foremost, we're in 2 different industries. We're a technology enabler. We don't develop content. We're not in that business, but we're a platform business. And our goal is to enable Eros to meet their vision and your objectives on top of the platform. So we both have our separate swim lanes, if you will, and I think that helps us be very synergistic in what we're trying to build together.
Absolutely, and just to add on to what Peggy said, I think what's been really beautiful about working with Microsoft has been the collaborative nature of absolutely everyone throughout the organization. And that collaboration gives birth to a lot of new identities, new ideas, and opens up new ways of looking and thinking about what may be considered a very basic standardized technology stack. So it actually enables, I feel, for both of us to push the envelope to a new level which hopefully has not been achieved yet.
I have a follow-up question. To that. You quoted the cover of the Harvard Business Review saying that I think it was I forget, Peter Drucker. I think
Peter Drucker, yes.
So Desi pop culture is on a rise. The question here is, where does Microsoft see itself in giving Desi pop culture a little more wing and wind beneath its wings? Particularly with this synergy with Eros Now.
I might not have understood the question.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite get...
So Desi pop culture is on a rise. It's sort of consolidating now. You find a wider psychographic coming together under that umbrella. The question is, since culture is the space that we're looking at, how could you elaborate a little more on how Microsoft and Eros are looking to come together to give this Desi or Indian pop culture a little more wind beneath its wing?
Sure. I think one of the things that we've been working on pretty deeply together is, I also mentioned PLC, which is deep personalization, deep localization, deep customization. And I feel that Desi pop culture, while it may exist, maybe it doesn't exist to the extent of regional pop culture. So I think our collaboration will enable us to access the product, give the product to someone, touch the micro-niche pockets of the country. So imagine if you're a Tamil-speaking viewer for Eros Now, but you want to watch a Hindi movie. Imagine the product surfacing for you in a language with which you're comfortable. To the extent the dialogue has never even been, say, shot in that language, but it's served to you in a way in which you are most comfortable viewing it. I think that's one of the greatest impacts we'll make, because content can then essentially cross borders and it's not limited to just one specific language, country, region, or dialect.